My family told me Thanksgiving was canceled because they couldn't afford it. Then I found out they used the emergency fund I'd been paying into to eat an $800 steakhouse dinner without me. So I mailed them a folder with every receipt and shut the door for good. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. My family told me Thanksgiving was canceled because they couldn't afford it. Then I found out they used the emergency fund I'd been paying into to eat an $800 steakhouse dinner without me. So I mailed them a folder with every receipt and shut the door for good. Hey Reddit, I've never posted anything this long before, but I've been holding this in since November, and it's been eating away at me. I guess I just need to get it out of my system, even if it just sits here and gets one upvote. I'm not even sure what I'm looking for. Maybe validation. Maybe just a place to throw the frustration. Either way, here we go. So I'm 30 male, currently living in Cleveland. I work IT support for a hospital. Decent job, decent pay, nothing flashy. I've always been kind of the quiet one in the family. Not distant, just not dramatic. I like my peace. I keep to myself, and I help out where I can. My parents live in Akron, about 35 minutes away, with my younger brother Jordan, 25 male, and sister Lexi, 22 female. Jordan works part-time at a car rental spot. Lexi's still in school and, shocker, also lives at home. My parents aren't retired, but my dad's hours got cut last year, and my mom's been dealing with health stuff that keeps her from working. Around late last year, things got pretty rough financially for them. Instead of watching them drown, I stepped in. I started sending $400 a month into what Mom called an emergency fund. She said it'd help cover their utilities, groceries, and general stuff that kept getting behind. A month after that started, she told me their mortgage payment was 2 months behind. That one hurt. So I covered that too. Every month. That's $400 plus the mortgage. $1,180 altogether. I just made it automatic so I wouldn't have to think about it. No questions, no guilt tripping, just handled. I never bragged about it. Never brought it up. They never thanked me either, but I wasn't doing it for brownie points. I just didn't want them losing their home. And I figured, hey, I can afford it for now, so why not? Then, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I get a group text from my mom. Just me, Jordan, and Lexi. She writes, "Hey guys, just wanted to let you know we're not doing Thanksgiving this year. Things are a little tight, and we can't afford the big dinner this time. Hope that's okay." No call, no real explanation. Just a cut and dry cancellation. I sat there rereading it a couple of times. I didn't respond right away. It hit weird. Not even a maybe next time or we'll figure something out. Just a flat, we're not doing it. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe they really couldn't do it this year. Money's been tight. Lexi's tuition bills, dad's hours, medical stuff. It made sense, right? So I texted back later that night. Okay, understood. Let me know if anything changes. I wasn't mad, just disappointed, I guess. I live alone. I don't have a big friend circle, and Thanksgiving has always been one of those days where I didn't feel like such an outsider. I figured maybe next year, or maybe I'd plan something small in December. No big deal. Thanksgiving Day, I threw a frozen lasagna in the oven, watched football, scrolled through my phone. Quiet day. I didn't hear from anyone. No happy Thanksgiving text. Not from Mom, not from Jordan, not from Lexi. It was weird, but I tried not to let it get to me. Then, the next morning, I got a notification from my bank. Transaction approved. Vitrano's Steakhouse. $835.49 from Joint Emergency Fund. What? I sat up so fast I almost knocked over my water. Vitrano's is one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. It's where people go for anniversaries, proposals, big milestones. And I knew they weren't dropping 800 plus on a casual night out. I pulled up Instagram. Jordan had posted a photo, just like I expected. My entire family, dressed up, sitting at this massive wooden table at Vitrano's. Plates stacked with prime rib and lobster, big cheesy grins like they were in a damn magazine. My mom's hair was done. Lexi had a brand new outfit on. My dad looked like he was having the time of his life. Even my cousin Lily was there. Apparently, she got an invite too. And right behind them, a chalkboard on a little easel that read, "Grateful for Family, 2024. I wasn't in the photo. I wasn't tagged. There wasn't a mention of me anywhere. And they used my money to pay for that dinner. I stared at the screen like it was in another language. I felt my heartbeat in my neck. I wasn't even angry at first. It was more like this creeping disbelief. I just sat there thinking, no way. No way they really did that. But the charge on the bank account confirmed it. They told me Thanksgiving was canceled because they couldn't afford it. Then they took the money I sent to help them keep the lights on and blew it on a steakhouse meal I wasn't even invited to. Something inside me snapped. I called my mom. She answered on the second ring, all chipper, like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just cut me out of a family dinner and spent the money I'd been sending them behind my back. "Hey, honey," she said, like she was genuinely happy to hear from me. I didn't even try to match her tone. "You told me we couldn't afford Thanksgiving." There was the tiniest pause, just half a breath. I could hear the wheels turning. "Then you used the emergency fund to drop $800 at Vetrano's without inviting me." She didn't sound sorry at all when she finally responded. "We just needed one nice night. You wouldn't understand." I blinked, staring at my phone like it had grown horns. "Excuse me? You're single, Caleb. You don't have the same kind of stress we do. You don't understand how exhausting it is having everyone rely on you." I actually laughed, loud and bitter. "I don't understand being relied on? You know what I mean," she snapped quickly, trying to recover. "We needed to do something normal, something nice, just once. And the normal thing was to exclude me?" She sighed like I was being difficult. "We didn't exclude you. We just kept it simple. It wasn't a big deal." I said, "There was a chalkboard that said, 'Grateful for family.' Was I just not part of that definition anymore?" "Caleb, don't do this," she said, tone shifting hard into irritation. "It was one night. You're acting like we committed a crime." "You lied to me," I said. "You looked me in the face and said Thanksgiving was canceled. I sat at home eating microwave pasta while you were cutting into $60 steaks." "Well, we didn't think you'd want to come anyway," she said, voice hardening. "You've been distant. You're always so tense around the holidays." "Because the holidays are when you usually ask me for money," I shot back. "Because you treat me like a background character while expecting me to play Santa." "That's not fair," she said. "We've always included you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Included me? You didn't even send a happy Thanksgiving text. Not a call. Not a meme. Not a, 'Hey, we're thinking of you.' Nothing." She scoffed. "I didn't realize I had to report my every move to you." "You don't," I said. "But maybe don't lie to me about canceling a family holiday while secretly throwing a five-star dinner with the money I gave you for the emergency fund." There was a beat of silence. Then she hit me with, "It wasn't meant to hurt you. You're twisting this into something it's not." "Oh, so this is my fault now?" "I never said that." "You didn't have to," I said. "You just told me I wouldn't understand needing a night out, like I'm some emotionless robot who can't possibly relate." "You chose to be alone," she said sharply. "We made the best decision for everyone's mood." There it was. "I wasn't even worth a seat at the table?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. "It wasn't about you, Caleb. We just wanted a night that didn't feel heavy." "Heavy?" I repeated, my voice getting sharper. "So I'm what? Emotional baggage now?" She said, flat like it was a fact. "You take things personally. You always want to talk about how we handle money or who paid for what." "Because I did pay for what?" I snapped. "Caleb." "No, say it," I said, my voice cracking now, not from sadness, from absolute disbelief. "You wanted a family dinner, just not with the part of the family who actually made it possible." "You're overreacting," she said. "It was just dinner." "Right," I said, flat. "Just dinner. The one you canceled in my face and then had without me." "Got it. Maybe if you weren't so sensitive all the time." I hung up. I didn't wait for her to finish. I didn't need another word. Because at that point, I realized it wasn't just the dinner. It was the fact that she meant it. I wasn't convenient that night, so I wasn't included. I logged into the bank, canceled the auto payment for both the fund and the mortgage. Then I changed all the passwords and locked the account. And that was it. I didn't explain. I didn't send some angry text. I didn't post anything. I just stopped. That night, I sat in my apartment and thought about every dollar I sent them. Every time I told myself it wasn't a big deal. Every time I ignored how one-sided it felt. And then I thought about that chalkboard. Grateful for family. Yeah, okay. I didn't block anyone. Not yet. I wanted to see what would happen next. Maybe someone would call back. Maybe someone would realize they'd screwed up and try to fix it. No one did. The next few days were just radio silence. I checked my phone every so often, not because I wanted to talk to them, but because I half expected some kind of explanation. But nothing came. Not a text from my mom, not even a half-hearted emoji from Jordan. It was like I didn't exist. Like my outburst was just a passing cloud they could wait out. Then, about 5 days later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from the mortgage company. I figured it was just a monthly statement, something routine. But no, it was a late notice. They hadn't paid the December bill. My auto payment had stopped, and now they were behind. I read it twice, then a third time. It felt like a slap in the face. They'd gone and used my emergency fund to dine at a steakhouse, didn't even invite me, and now the mortgage, the one I had been covering like clockwork, was suddenly my problem again. They hadn't even reached out to ask about it. They just let the payment bounce and hoped I wouldn't notice. Or worse, they assumed I'd feel bad enough to turn it back on myself. I didn't respond to the letter. I just stared at it for a good 10 minutes, thinking, they really thought I was that stupid, huh? Then came the message from Lily, my cousin who'd been at the dinner. She texted me out of nowhere. Hey, just checking in. Can I call you? I figured she felt awkward after that dinner pic blew up. I replied, yeah, sure. She called me a minute later, and the first thing out of her mouth was, I didn't know you weren't invited. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. She said, I asked your mom where you were, and she said you were spending Thanksgiving with coworkers. She made it sound like you were too busy or had other plans. I could feel my jaw tightening. But then she added, and this part stuck like glue. She also said you'd just bring the mood down, that you always ask too many questions, and she wanted one stress-free night. That part hit harder than the price tag at Vetrano's. So now I was the problem? The reason they had to leave me out? Because I'd ask questions like, hey, why are you blowing money from the emergency fund on lobster tails? That kind of question. I told Lily thanks for letting me know, and that I didn't blame her. I meant it. She seemed genuinely bothered, and I could tell she hadn't known the full story. But after we hung up, I sat there in my living room, just staring at the wall for a long time. I started remembering all the times things felt off, all the vague answers when I'd ask how things were going, all the times Lexi brushed me off with, don't worry, mom's got it. The way Jordan once said, half joking, you're basically our landlord at this point. I used to laugh along, but it didn't feel funny now. It felt calculated. That same night, I got the first text. It was Lexi. Hey, Caleb, I think something's wrong with the mortgage thing. Can you check? No greeting, no, how are you? Just a straight up request, like I was customer support. I didn't answer. I left it sitting there. The next morning, I got another one, this time from my mom. But it came from a different number, which means she probably realized I'd seen her name and ignored it. Can we talk? Still no apology. Still no ownership. Just a vague, passive message like none of the last week had happened. I stared at that one too. Let it sit unread. Then Jordan texted me. You're seriously gonna do this over dinner? Number not sorry we excluded you. Not, I didn't know mom used your money. Just that. Like I was throwing a tantrum because they forgot to bring me a doggy bag. That one pushed me over the edge. I texted back, it's not about dinner. It's about being lied to, stolen from, and talked about like I'm some outsider. You used my money and left me out. Then you acted like I was the one being dramatic. No response. 3 days passed. Nothing. Then the notifications started coming in. Not from them, but from the bank. I got a low balance warning on the shared account. Another alert from the mortgage company saying the payment was still pending. And that's when I realized they really thought this would fix itself. They figured I'd eventually crack and go back to normal, that I'd keep paying like I always had, just to avoid conflict, like I'd always done. But I wasn't going back. That week, I started collecting receipts. Not just mentally, literally. Every transfer, every transaction, every month I paid for groceries, internet, gas, and the mortgage. I printed them all out and started putting together a folder. I didn't even know why yet. Maybe it was for me. Maybe it was just to remind myself that I wasn't being unreasonable. Or maybe it was because I was already planning something they wouldn't see coming. By the time the second mortgage notice hit, I already knew how this was going to go. They weren't going to apologize. They weren't going to admit anything. They were going to wait until things got uncomfortable enough for them, not for me, and then swoop in like nothing happened, expecting me to fix it. And right on schedule, the guilt parade rolled in. It started with small stuff. My mom texted me a picture of our old dog. He died a few years ago, with a message like, found this in the drawer, miss those days. Real subtle, like this was all about nostalgia. Then, Lexi messaged me something totally unrelated. Do you still have that HDMI splitter I let you borrow? I hadn't borrowed anything. It was like she just wanted to start a conversation without having to say the words, we messed up. Jordan, predictably, went the sarcasm route. He texted me a link to some dumb meme that said, when your family forgets to invite you to dinner, but you're still paying the bill. No caption. Just that. Like it was all just a joke to him. Like he hadn't been sitting across from my mom while she drained the account I'd been filling. Still, I said nothing. I didn't reply. Didn't even leave them on read. I just watched and waited. And then the messages shifted. They went from weird and passive to desperate and sloppy. Mom, hey, I know we haven't talked, but the gas bill is due and it's higher than usual. Can you help just for this month? Lexi, I have finals coming up and I can't focus with all this tension. Can we please talk? Jordan, bro, mom's crying. Just call her. That one almost got me. Not because of the crying part, but because it was the first time in weeks anyone acknowledged that something was actually wrong. Still, I didn't move. I wasn't going to fix this. Not this time. Then I got a phone call I didn't expect. My Uncle Rick. He's not someone I talk to often. He's my mom's older brother, lives 2 towns over, usually stays out of family drama unless it's directly costing him something, which apparently it now was. Hey Caleb, he said when I picked up. Your mom's been telling people you're going through something. Said you're pulling away, maybe overwhelmed. I didn't even blink. She said that? He sighed. Yeah. She told my wife it's been a rough year for you and you needed space. She made it sound like you ghosted them without warning. I didn't hold back. I laid it out in plain language. About the monthly payments, the mortgage, the steakhouse, the lie about Thanksgiving, the silence and the sudden shift to guilt when I pulled the plug. Rick was quiet for a second. Then he said, Jesus. I had no idea. Yeah, I said. That makes 2 of us. He apologized. Didn't try to defend her. Said he wasn't going to get involved, but that he didn't want me thinking the whole family was in on it. I respected that. Honestly, it meant more than anything I'd heard from my immediate family in years. But it also confirmed something for me. My mom was spinning a version of events where I was the problem. The emotionally distant son, the one who stopped helping for no reason, the one who needed space. It wasn't just about guilt anymore. It was about rewriting the whole story. Later that night, I opened up my email and saw a message from the electric company. The payment was past due. Not surprising. I had been paying that too, remember? But now that the tap was off, everything was unraveling. I could practically hear the excuses forming in real time. Then the call came in around 10:17 p.m. Mom lit up on the screen. For a second, I just stared at it. Every instinct told me to let it go to voicemail. But something in me made me accept. Her voice came in soft, like she'd been practicing it. Hey, darling. I didn't say anything right away. Then she dove straight in. We're really struggling right now. The electric might get shut off this week. I didn't want to ask, but just until we're stable again. 1 more month? There was no apology. No accountability. Just that same tired request wrapped in, I hate to do this packaging, she's used a dozen times before. Then Lexi's voice cut in from the background. She wasn't even trying to be subtle. Tell him this is all really dramatic. He's acting like we stole from him. I let out a dry laugh and brought the phone back to my ear. Tell Lexi I'm still here. And yes, I do think you stole from me. Then I hung up. And they had no idea what was coming next. I decided to host a dinner on my own. Not some big, dramatic event. Just a small dinner with people I actually liked, people who'd shown up for me in ways my own family hadn't. I kept the invite list short. Lily, my friend Malik from work, who'd quietly helped me cover a rough rent year back when I was starting out. My upstairs neighbor Carla, who always brought me leftovers even when I told her she didn't have to. And Devin, my old friend from college who once drove 4 hours when my car broke down, and I didn't even ask him to. I sent out the invite like a week in advance. Just a simple group text. Thinking about cooking a big dinner next Saturday. Just something chill. Y'all in? They all said yes within the hour. No one asked what the occasion was. No one assumed it was a favor. They just wanted to show up. The day of the dinner, I woke up early for once and went all in. Grocery run, table setup, even some Spotify playlist nonsense I'd never cared about before. People started arriving around 6. Lily was the last to come in, and she brought drinks and this soft, awkward energy, like she was still afraid it was going to feel weird. It didn't. And honestly, I didn't think about my parents once during that meal. It wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It was about being with people who didn't need me to perform. At one point, Lily leaned over and said, "You seem lighter." And I didn't even hesitate. I said, "I am." We didn't talk about the drama. Not really. I think they all knew what had gone down. But no one made it about that. No one brought it up to poke at the wound. They respected that it was behind me, and they let it stay there. Then the next morning, out of nowhere, I get a notification from the family group chat, the same one I hadn't seen light up in months. It had gone quiet since Thanksgiving, until now. Mom, saw Lily's story. Glad to see you can still host dinners. That was it. No greeting, no question. Just a passive-aggressive jab wrapped in a fake smile. I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, Lexi, you had a whole dinner and didn't invite us? Another from Jordan. Guess we know where we stand. Then Mom again. It's okay. You've moved on. We just hope those people are still around when you need help one day. That one made me laugh. Out loud. Help? You mean like covering your rent for 10 months? Like paying your mortgage and pretending not to notice when you use the money for steak dinners? Like fixing Jordan's car while he posted memes about broke friends and not once mentioned who bailed him out? They were offended because they saw the pictures. Because Lily posted a story of us laughing around a table and I wasn't alone anymore. Because the house was warm, the food looked good, and I wasn't miserable without them. I put my phone down and didn't answer. A few hours later, I got a text from my dad. Not in the group chat, just direct. You really didn't think to let us know? I replied with 2 words. You didn't. No reply after that. And that's when it really sank in. They weren't upset because they cared about being there. They were upset because they weren't in control. They were used to having me on standby. They expected a seat at the table by default. And now that they saw I could be happy, full, laughing, surrounded, without them, they realized they couldn't guilt me back in. They weren't mourning the relationship. They were mourning the access. And they were mourning the fact that someone else got a taste of the loyalty they took for granted. That dinner wasn't revenge. It was proof that life could be peaceful, that not all relationships are transactional, that family can be chosen, and that some dinners mean more than 1,000 apologies you'll never get. The next morning, my phone lit up with 3 missed calls, all from my mom. 1 voicemail. I didn't listen to it right away. I just watched the screen, then silenced it again. A couple hours later, Jordan texted, "Power's still off. Are you seriously not going to help? Didn't say please. Didn't say sorry. Just straight to the point, like I was a utility company he forgot to pay." A few minutes after that, Lexi joined in. "This is petty. You're punishing everyone because you didn't get your way?" I didn't answer either of them. Not because I was trying to be cold, but because I finally realized that every reply I gave just opened another door. Another chance for them to spin things, guilt me, drag me back into a conversation that only ended one way, with me paying and them forgetting. Later that day, I got an email that made my stomach drop a little. It was from the mortgage company. Apparently, they were now officially 60 days overdue. In bold red text at the top, it said, "Final notice." And just below it, there it was, my name. Still attached, still on the cosign. I'd completely forgotten that detail. Back when things first started going downhill, I let my mom talk me into co-signing so she could refinance the house. I remember her saying, "It's just to help us qualify. You won't even have to do anything." At the time, I was too busy working long hours and being naive to see the problem with that. I called the mortgage company immediately. The rep told me I wasn't financially responsible for the missed payments yet, since I hadn't been the one making the last few. But if it went to collections, my name being on it could come back to bite me. I asked what I needed to do to remove myself. She said it required written consent from the primary borrower, my mom. Of course it did. She had me right where she wanted. If everything fell apart, guess who they'd try to pull down with them? That night, I didn't rage. I didn't start flipping out or crafting some angry response. I did what I always do when I need to cool down. I went for a walk. As I walked through my neighborhood, breathing in cold air that stung my nose, I thought about how much time I'd wasted trying to be what they needed. How every time I stepped up, it wasn't viewed as generosity, it was viewed as expected, like I was just fulfilling my role. By the time I got home, I had a new mindset. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg to be removed from something I never should have been on. I was going to let the ship sink, and I was going to step back and let the water hit them instead of me. The next day at work, I had just finished up a meeting when I noticed someone leaning against a car outside our building. At first, I didn't recognize him. Then, he waved. Jordan. I walked right past him, heading to my car. He followed. "Before you freak out," he said, like he was the one who needed to be protected. "I'm not here to fight. I just came to talk." I didn't say anything, just stared. He took that as permission. "Things at home are bad, man. Mom and Dad are freaking out. There's no money. Lexi's still in school and can't focus with all the drama. You made your point, okay? Just don't let it get worse." I couldn't believe it. No ownership, no acknowledgement, just this sad little attempt to make me feel like I was the villain. "You know," I said, "if I hadn't stopped paying, would anyone have apologized? Would anyone have invited me over? Or would you all still be having dinners without me while I paid for the damn lights?" He looked away. I continued. "You didn't come here to apologize. You came here to reset access. I was useful. Now I'm not. That's why you're all scrambling. He didn't argue, just stood there like he hadn't expected me to see through it. Tell mom and dad, I said, that if they want to fix anything, they can start by removing my name from their mess. Then I got in my car and left. Later that night, when I got home, there was a letter in my mailbox. Actual paper in a stamped envelope. My mom's handwriting on the front. Inside were 3 pages, all written by hand. It started with stuff like, "We all make mistakes, and family is more than money." Then came the guilt paragraph, where she mentioned all the things they did for me growing up. The food, the clothes, the roof over my head. And at the very end, she wrote, "I hope one day we can laugh about this. I hope one day, when the dust settles, you'll remember who was there for you when you had nothing." I folded the letter neatly, slid it back into the envelope, dropped it in the trash, because I did remember who was there for me, and it definitely wasn't them. That's when I finally did what I should have done weeks earlier. I pulled out the receipts, literal ones, digital too. I opened the folder I'd been building and started adding things line by line. No fluff, no estimates, just hard numbers. $400 per month for the emergency fund, $1,180 per month for the mortgage, $75 for groceries when they ran out of cash, $60 here and there for birthday dinners and surprise Uber Eats, $180 for Lexi's urgent textbooks last spring, and $500 to fix Jordan's car when he didn't have a dime to his name and swore he'd Venmo me the next week. He never did. Line by line, I added everything. Every payment, every gift, every purchase I'd tracked. I totaled it all up. $16,920. Just gone. No thank you notes, no interest, no receipts, just a big hole in my bank account labeled family. I sat with that number on the screen for a long time, just looking at it. The sheer size of it hit different when it was right in front of me like that. You don't realize how fast small, helpful payments add up until you stack them together. I thought about what I could have done with that money. A car upgrade, a vacation I'd always put off, a down payment on my own house. Hell, just peace of mind. Instead, I paid for their cable and their car repairs and their overpriced Thanksgiving feast. And they still thought I was the one holding things up. I printed the spreadsheet out, put it in a folder, labeled it in Sharpie. "This is what I gave you while you gave me nothing. Never again." Then addressed it to the house and dropped it in the mailbox. Around 9:30 p.m., just as I was about to shut things down for the night, my doorbell rang. Nobody ever shows up at my place. Not without texting first, not unannounced. I looked through the peephole. There they were, my parents. My mom had her coat zipped all the way up, clutching some Tupperware like it was a peace treaty. My dad stood a step behind her, hands in his pockets, face blank, like he'd rather be anywhere else. Neither Lexi nor Jordan were with them this time. I didn't open the door right away. I just stood there, watching. My mom tried to smile at the peephole, the same awkward smile she gave when she was about to ask for something, but wanted it to sound casual. I let them stand there for almost a full minute. I wasn't being petty. I just wanted to see how long they'd wait when I wasn't immediately useful. Then I opened the door. I didn't say anything. My mom stepped forward like we were in the middle of a conversation we never had. "We just wanted to stop by. Thought maybe you'd be hungry. I brought pasta." Of course she did. She always used food like it could undo whatever came before it. "You read it?" I asked. Her smile cracked a little. "We did. Caleb, it was a lot." "Yeah," I said. "That's what happens when you total up a year of being used." My dad let out a slow breath like he was trying to keep the peace. "It's not like that. We never meant to take advantage." "But you did," I said, repeatedly. He didn't argue. "We didn't know it added up to that much," my mom said, quieter now. "It just kept happening." I nodded. "And not once did any of you stop and ask if I was okay. Not once did you say thank you. You just kept letting me fix things while keeping me at arm's length." "We made a mistake," she said. "We got too comfortable." "No," I replied. "You got entitled." My dad stepped in again, finally showing some backbone. "Caleb, we came here because we want to make things right." "No. You came here because I sent you a number you couldn't ignore," I said. "You came here because the guilt finally outweighed the convenience." Mom looked like she was trying not to cry. "I don't want us to hate each other." "I don't hate you," I said. "I just don't trust you." The silence that followed was thicker than anything I've ever felt. Nobody moved, nobody looked me in the eye. Then I asked, "Is the power still out?" Neither of them answered. That was answer enough. "You didn't show up when I was sitting alone on Thanksgiving," I said. "But now that the lights are off and your safety net pulled the plug, you're here with a Tupperware full of guilt carbs." My dad muttered, "That's not fair." I looked straight at him. No, what's not fair is spending 16 grand on a family that couldn't even send me a text on the one holiday I looked forward to all year. What's not fair is watching you hand out gifts and laugh over steak while I'm footing the bill and getting painted as the moody one. They stood there like statues. I think for the first time, they were actually hearing it, not brushing it off, not spinning it, just standing there in the fallout they created. I let the silence sit a little longer. Then I said, I meant every line in that folder, especially the label. My mom blinked fast, like she was trying to hold it together. You really mean that? I do, I said. You only came here to fix the relationship because the money dried up. Not because you missed me. Not because you felt bad. Because the bills came due. Nobody moved. Nobody apologized. And that was the moment I knew nothing had actually changed, except me. So I stepped back inside. I hope you figure things out, I said. Then I closed the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't lock it dramatically. I just shut it. And this time, I didn't wait behind it. I walked into my kitchen, warmed up the leftovers I'd already planned to eat, and sat down alone with my plate and peace. Because sometimes closure doesn't come from a deep conversation or a big speech. Sometimes it's just a firm door and a number they can never unsee.